Tonight's stories.
Favoritism.
Refuse.
Changing.
Contribution.
Leaving.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Comfort Level Podcast. I'm Maddie, and I'm here with...
Sam.
We're back, guys.
We're back.
This is great.
We came through a blizzard to get here.
I know.
I appreciate you guys for
almost
coming.
slipped off the road. I was so scared. I was like,
That's how we're dedicated we are to the listeners
Is it
of this
worth it?
podcast. It is worth it, Brandon, because listeners are depending on us to get Am I the
just like
Asshole
we're
stories.
depending on them to hit that subscribe
Yes.
And that like button.
Like it. Or
And
we
leave
won't
a
do this
comment
again.
about what the weather's like in your
We
area.
will do this again?
We won't do this again.
Okay.
Janice, and I'm talking to Janice specifically, if you don't like and subscribe to this video, we're done.
What about like Jordan? Like
Jordans are mischievous. I don't
Jordans
know
are
about
mischievous.
Jordans. Jordans are kind of crazy.
Megan's,
oh,
they're just watching the video. I can guarantee you there's a Megan just watching the video.
I need you guys to follow us on Spotify.
We split, guys.
Comfort Level Podcast, in parentheses, video. So if you're on YouTube and you're on Spotify, but you don't really watch us on Spotify, go ahead and follow us over on Spotify for us,
Get
okay?
over there.
Facts.
Get over there. Make a contribution. Like this first story.
I like that. That was clean.
That was really good.
I literally just glanced. I'm like,
All right, so this first story is from r/Comfort Level Pod.
hey.
So shout out. Am I the asshole for not wanting to contribute to a meal train?
It's a meal train.
Is that?
It's like
The
when
pandemic
somebody's
thing?
sick or like pregnant
Oh.
or like, and they need meals. Like some people will just make a ton of meals and just
Oh.
bring it over to you so you don't have to cook. Am I the asshole for not wanting to contribute to a meal train for someone in our wider friend group who just had a baby? Context, I had a baby about 6 months ago and they didn't do shit for us.
Oh, there
She
it is.
personally texted people one-on-one to make sure they were signing up. I've always been under the impression meal trains are more of a voluntary thing you want to do out of the kindness of your heart, not something you're peer pressured into. When we had our baby, we never asked people for anything. A few of our close friends brought over a meal or two as a surprise, and we were super grateful. But I would never think to practically straight up ask someone, hey, are you going to bring me some food? She also has dietary restrictions. On top of that, I have a little one of my own that keeps us insanely busy, and I don't really feel like taking the time to make an entirely separate meal for them. I'm most likely just going to Venmo them money so they can order takeout or DoorDash or something, but to be quite honest, I don't want to give anything at all. Am I the asshole?
No. Being in a church community, there's like a whole team dedicated to that type of stuff, just making sure that people get like meal trains. But it's like usually volunteer based, and it's volunteers helping other volunteers to coordinate that.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that the person is like, nope, sign up's here, and like just trying to coordinate it for herself, that's kind of crazy to be involved with. But then also what is it, that whole take care of yourself first? You just had a baby, take care of yourself. You shouldn't feel obligated to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just take care of yourself first.
Because I feel like, I don't think you're the asshole, but I feel like the whole thing about, meal trains in general have like a nice ring to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's like, if, let's say for this other woman, if she needs help and she's like, I need food, and there's really nobody to advocate for her, there's like a part of me where I'm thinking, well, then how else is she going to get it started?
Yeah.
But I think the way that she's asking is rude, so I'm trying to think of it in another way. And I'm like also wondering who all is she asking, because this person, OP doesn't seem to really be close enough where OP's like,
Right.
you didn't do anything for me, so why would I do anything for you? She had people close to her that brought her stuff, but I also think to a certain extent this whole meal train thing, I don't necessarily think it's bad to ask for help when you think you're going to need it, but also don't expect people to just sign up.
Yeah.
And I think the way she went about it might have been wrong and rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have anybody to advocate for you, then yeah, you might be the front-facing person, but that still doesn't, like, how at our church it would be somebody else advocating for someone else.
Yeah.
Where they might ask help first, or you would see that person needs help. But
yeah, I think there's, even with what you're saying, there's a way to, I guess, advocate for yourself that it doesn't seem demanding.
Yeah, like, you're right.
It seemed like a demand. Like, sign up is here. Not
right.
If you could sign up, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like in the first time, I'm like, this is a nobody sucks here to me. I see OP side where I'm like, you don't have to do it because I do think meal trains are voluntary. But I'm like with Madi, I'm like, how do you advocate for yourself? I do need help making meals. I have to be the one to do it. Closed mouths don't get fed. I can overhear languish out because I can see the other side where people, because OP's even kind of saying it a little bit like, well, nobody helped me when I got pregnant. Well, maybe no one knew, or maybe people didn't think you don't have a group of friends or a group of people who are like would have the organization skills to like come up with that and do it for you. So this person's like, I'm asking because I know no one did it for OP, so I gotta ask. I need help, and it could be your perspective of how you're looking at it. Like, it's rude that you're advocating for yourself, because I think some of it is that we're expecting someone to be like, hey, this person over here needs help, so can we do this thing for them? Versus like, I need help. Because the person who needed help still had to tell someone to get someone to advocate for them. They're skipping that step because you always can't find someone to do that for you. It's really hard sometimes. So I'm actually don't think they're really that asshole. There is a question of, like you're saying, the tone and the language, how they used it. But I'm like, hey, go get what you're trying to get. I think that's fine to me.
Yeah, and it is hard to ask for help sometimes, especially when you're in that position of being down. But my thing is, at least I would never, when I'm in a position where I need to ask help, it's never an obligation.
Yeah.
It's never, you need to help me with this. It's like, hey, could you please really help me with this? I'm not going to beg, but I'm not going to demand. Because you're nothing is owed to you.
Right. And I agree with that.
And yeah, I agree too. What do you, so I have two questions. I forgot the first one because I was looking at the second one, but one point I was going to make is I don't think she should have been asking everybody openly. Like, her asking OP, I don't think is fair, because it's like OP said, she just had a baby 6 months ago. Right. So why do you think she's in a position to maybe be able to help you? But I think also OP could just be, if the way that she's asking is wrong or something, OP could just be like, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to help you right now. Like, we're kind of barely above water when it comes to running this household. But the other thing is, what do you think about the fact that when she was asking people for help, she's not taking just anything. She has specific dietary restrictions.
That's where it's a little crazy.
If we're assuming, depending on how she asked it, of like the demandingness, the tone of like, sign up, get a meal for me, like asking and advocating for yourself in the wrong way and being too picky, where it's like, people don't need to help you. Like, maybe if you're able to get like a food subscription service for a period of time, maybe you could do that, where it's already made for you and you just heat it up and eat it. And I know it's not homemade, but at least it's something.
Food and it's edible and it feeds you nutrients. Yeah.
So
and I'm wondering too if there's like, because this is, no, that's an assumption. We don't know where her standing is financially.
Right.
Could it be out of the tiredness? 'Cause she's doing this because of a baby too, right? Yeah. Could it be from the tiredness of maternity? Yes. Or could it be from the financial stability? Yes.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if there's resources out there to kind of help out with that as well.
Yeah.
So you're not putting it on the
Other
random
people.
person.
Yeah.
And so much to the point so that you're putting it on someone that you don't have enough relationship to have
for that
like,
ask.
Yeah, OP
Right.
OP is not. I feel like OP feels weird because it's not that she doesn't feel like she can say no, but honestly, that she feels like she can't really say no because she doesn't have enough relationship to say that and feel fine with it at the end of the day. Because if she would, she wouldn't be, I guess, asking, am I a bad person from doing this? Because, you know, if you have a relationship with somebody, it's a lot easier to say no to them.
So the less you know someone, it's harder to tell them no.
When it's in a certain situation
Yeah.
like this, it's like she's obviously in some sort of rut and she's like, help me out. But
So it's like if your coworker asks, like, can I borrow $20?
yeah,
It depends on what it is. Like, it's easier for me to say no to family when I know them well. But yeah, certain strangers, if they were to ask me something, my people pleasing tendencies would be
Will say,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Yep. Totally. And then it's like, at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to commit, but next time I'm going to get you. I'm going to say no to you.
Yeah. Because you owe me $20 from the last time. You didn't pay
Yeah.
me
Money,
back.
it's easy for me to be like,
Yeah.
I don't have that for you.
I ain't got cash, my boy.
Well, I just wanna. I do like the somewhat advocating for yourself because I just come from a childhood where my mom was overwhelmingly, do not ask anyone for help. We can need help. Don't ask anyone for it. Don't talk about it, and we'll just be in silence over here struggling.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the good way to live either. So I do think there has to be a middle ground. But the biggest thing that I really take from what Brandon's saying is like, you don't expect anything. Like no one owes you anything. No one's obligated to give you anything. But you still have to voice if you do need help or support.
And I think like a good middle ground for that is, okay, so obviously this woman's probably about to have her baby. So she's kind of out of luck. But anybody listening, if you're either, you know, thinking about having a baby soon or you're pregnant, and I think you should think about this a little bit before you're about to give birth of like, hey, can I organize this with my friends and family of like, would you guys be willing to do this for me?
Right.
If not, and they can't financially do that because they're not close to you or they, you know, they don't feel like they have that relationship or really it just is like money or time, then maybe you could do like freezer meals, like crock pot meals. I think there was one woman that I was watching on YouTube where she basically made like a month full of food. It was for her sister.
Yeah.
So think about it now,
Yeah.
but I guess you could do this for yourself of like a crock pot, like a ton of crock pot meals for like 2 or 3 months. And it was just enough to be like, hey, you just throw this in the crock pot, you let it sit for like 6 hours and you'll have food and you don't have to think about it. And if maybe that's something that if anybody's listening and they can relate to this of how to plan for if your village can't help you, how you can help yourself so that you don't feel stuck and end up in this situation where you kind of maybe make people feel obligated or they say no and they can't help you and then you're kind of stuck.
True.
Yeah.
Actually, I think if you need someone to advocate for you, you can DM Brandon and he'll run all of it for you. He'll run the whole meal.
I didn't know that, Brandon.
So that's something that he hasn't really talked about. He's kind of a humble guy. But
my God.
if you need help supporting a meal train,
No.
Brandon will do it for any listener that needs help.
He's lying.
So, gosh, man, that's my cousin.
That's really awesome of you.
I love this man.
I will not be a fraud.
Oh. Brandon said, I will speak up and I will say I cannot do
I
that for
actively am not doing that.
you. He's refusing.
His DMs
Like
start
this next
flooding.
story.
Woo! Like I heard what you said on the
Wait.
episode.
My DMs are I'm 100 DMs deep. I'm like, Sam, But I was gonna say too, I think it's all in the tone of how you ask.
Yeah, and
If
it's
you're
tough.
gonna ask, it's
Especially over message. But like you're saying, you mentioned earlier when we were talking about something personal, but you're saying there's like a certain way that you can deliver something over text where it doesn't give people opportunity to read into some things.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Pose it as a question, not a demand.
Yeah.
Can you help?
Can you
Not
make a
help
meal
me.
or two? If not, totally okay. I understand.
Yeah.
If not, do you have any ideas of what I could make for, you know, when it'll be a little bit tougher for me to, you know, get food
Yeah.
or my husband or wife,
Right.
you know, somebody who can make it for me. Cause I'm going to be taking care of that baby, taking care of myself, resting, recovering. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my kids see my mother after she sold the home I paid for?
Dang. Out from under you? Like, did she steal the house? How did she sell it?
Basically. That is similar.
I think that's theft.
And valid.
You stole my home from me and sold. Oh. Only if you got no money from the sale. Actually, if you sold it without me knowing or me saying yes, then yeah, I'm probably not going to talk to you. At least for a couple years.
And Timmy's not going to talk to you either.
Yeah.
You just threatened his livelihood.
Am I the asshole for refusing to let my kids see my mother after she sold the home I paid for? For nearly 9 years, I lived in and paid for a home under the agreement that once it was paid off, my mother would transfer the title to me. The home was in her name, but I covered the mortgage, lot rent, and all expenses. I also put my own money into renovations and repairs like new flooring, light fixtures, refinishing cabinets, replacing appliances, and fixing the oven. My mom originally bought the home in 2015, planning to leave her husband. When she changed her mind about the divorce, she offered it to me, saying it would be a great way to invest my money into something for the future. I agreed and moved in, believing I was working towards the ownership. The roof and her changing the terms. In 2022, my roof started leaking. I called my mom for advice, but she didn't know anyone who could do small repairs. My boyfriend at the time, who had roofing experience, helped me fix it, and I paid for all the materials. Later, she insisted on sending someone she knew to check the roof. Since the home was in her name, I couldn't stop her. She then decided to have the entire roof replaced without my consent. And when I asked about the cost, she brushed it off saying, "Don't worry, God always provides." In early 2023, she suddenly demanded $3,000 for the roof, despite never discussing payment beforehand. I told her this felt unfair since I never agreed to it. I offered to make monthly payments, but she was furious. Her final ultimatum. By early 2024, I was less than $3,500 away from fully paying off the home. I was ready to be done with all the drama. But then, in February 2024, my mom raised the roof cost by another $1,500, bringing it to $4,500, and added other random fees, telling me I had 1 week to pay over $20,000 or move out. I was stunned. I asked why, and all she said was, "The choice is yours to make. You just have to decide whatever path you want to take." No explanation, just an ultimatum. When I refused, she started making my life hell. In April 2024, she showed up unannounced and refused to leave until the police made her. At that point, I had no choice. I packed up my kids and moved out on May 1st, 2024. Not long after, she sold the home I had spent nearly a decade paying for, keeping all of the money for herself. My family thinks I should move on. Now my family says I'm the bad guy for cutting her off and keeping her grandkids away. But my kids want nothing to do with her. They were old enough to understand what happened and felt just as betrayed as I did. To make things worse, she's been showing up uninvited to my kids' events and causing scenes. I'm now looking into legal options to keep her away, and I don't want her forcing her way back into their lives. My family says I should just move on because it's not worth losing family over. But I can't just forget about all the money I put into that home. It's been almost a year, and I'm now seeking legal advice because I refuse to let her get away with it. I feel like I owe her nothing at this point, but my family keeps guilt-tripping me, saying I'm being too harsh. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my kids see my mother and not just moving on like my family wants me to?
I'm like stuck on the house. I'm not even worried about the not letting.
This
I
lady
would've
got
never
screwed over by
moved
her
out.
mother.
Yeah.
I'm not moving out. I'm staying in that house. I'm showing proof that I've been paying for I'm going to a lawyer. Like, I'm keeping that house.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm putting, because you're $3,500 away from paying it off. Did this in like 7 years, which is crazy. I don't care how much there ain't no house that's cheap enough that you pay that off that quickly and you didn't put tons of money into it. There's no way you're getting me out of that house. And I think you're kind of screwed now because you moved out.
Yeah.
Like, it legally is in the mom's name. You could have got away with it. Like, you lived in this house for so long, but that.
It's your own mother doing this too.
And I think this kind of highlights when you have these kind of business deals with your family, you treat them like they're strangers. Something in writing, contracts, like showing that this is essentially like a rent-to-own situation. Like that has to be written out legally, so the mom can't come in literally at the end, because that's why those contracts even exist. Because you're like, when did I say that you were going to own it? You were just renting the whole time. That's why the money just went to the mortgage. What are you talking about? People can just say that. Even if it's your family, you need that so you don't have these kind of situations at the end. I feel really bad for OP. I don't agree with the family at all. This is definitely something to pull your kids away from.
For sure.
Because it's not even because of like, oh, she got back to you. I'm like, no, she's espousing values that I don't want my kids to know. Like, you can just lie and take advantage of your family and then pull the rug out from under them when they don't do exactly what you want to do. Pay the stupid roof off when I've paid tons of money already. I tried to pay for it before, and then you just sprung this bill on me. I don't want my kids to be around a person who does stuff like that to their own family, let alone to strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's got to be so frustrating. You're not the asshole. You're not the asshole for choosing to not have a relationship with your mom, and then that also means not having your kids not having a relationship with your mom. Also, I know you say she's kind of screwed now, but I think you should still talk to a lawyer,
Definitely
still see if there's anything of like, at least maybe you can sue to get something back. I mean, you never know, but I think it is worth figuring out. It's crazy. Her own mom screwed her over so bad.
That's so bad.
And yeah, I would probably, because if this wasn't familial, besides suing you, I would never speak to you again. Except for, the courts and my lawyer. That's all you're getting. And it's familial. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, you really screwed me over. And yeah, I don't care to ruin you ruined the relationship.
You ruined the relationship.
You degraded this relationship by constantly taking advantage of me as your tenant and then lying to me. And then once you got me out, you sold all of the work that I did, all of the money that I paid you into this, or paid for the mortgage towards this house.
Yeah.
And then you sold it all for profit. Like, I wasn't just a random tenant that was paying rent.
Right, didn't even give me any of the money.
Yeah, and it's
Where
like,
did it go?
if like all the stuff that she said she put into the house, that should have been your responsibility if you never intended for me to have this house, even if you told me that. And then, oh man, even the whole communication about she randomly brings somebody by to fix the roof, even though it's already fixed, but it doesn't look necessarily the best.
Yeah.
She's probably fixing it up to sell it. And then it's like, now you pay this. It's like, oh no, I didn't agree to that. Yeah. But it doesn't, I don't know if it just doesn't sound like there's no contract. There's nothing in writing, like Sam mentioned. That's where, unfortunately, it really is. It could be your word against hers, and she has in paper that that's her house.
Right.
And that's just where it's frustrating, because sometimes people can wrong you, but you don't have the protections put in place to keep you safe on what really happened or bring justice to the situation.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of the quote. Well, I think it was a quote like, betrayal can only happen to people you know and love, from people you know and love. Like a random person can't betray you, but your closest people can. But the one thing I was going to focus on too is the fact that usually we have this argument where, in situations where you're bringing your kids away from a foundational piece of the family, like a grandma or a mom or dad, it's like you have to kind of deal with that, like your kids growing up, and you kind of having to deal with that. It was your decision to take the kids away from it. Mm-hmm. But the kids were old enough to know. Mm-hmm. They knew, they tracked what was going on, and they were also like, we don't want her in our life either. And it's crazy that the family's like, well, you should just let it slide under the rug, because the kids are choosing, I don't want to be with grandma because I know what she did to us. But then also, as the grandma, what did you do with that money? Like, you could have, I don't think it would have made it better, because you threatened the livelihoods of the children. They had to move out. They had to find, the mom had to move out, find their own place. But putting it towards like a fund or something.
No, she's selfish. I don't think she would ever even consider that.
I really want to know from the mom's perspective, like, what's her reason to justify any of this? Like, I really want to know what's in the mom's head to be like, I can do this. I put no money into this house. but I can sell it. Is she firmly like, well, my name's on the deed, so
Yeah. But
it
then
was
also,
mine all
what
the
did
time.
she expect? You literally, why would your grandkids want to see you after you taking their house away from them? Like, that's what I don't
Yeah.
get. What would you expect after that? Because the relationship
Well, some people
is-
are like, we're family. I can do anything I want to you.
And you won't leave because we're
And you
family.
won't, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, we are getting like, just one side of the story, but just the fact that all the other siblings, just based off the story and the information we have, all the other siblings are probably just used to being bulldozed by mom.
Because I'm literally just thinking about the money. If it's the cheapest house in the world, like it's a $50,000 house, you put almost $50,000, probably over $50,000 with all the renovations, fixing stuff, $50,000-$60,000 you put into this house, that's just gone.
Yeah.
Just because your mom was like, I'm going to sell it because you didn't pay this $3,000. That's crazy. That's like money. That's worse than rent. Because rent, you're like, oh yeah, I'm just renting. My money's kind of going out to nothing. I had an idea this was going to something, and then it was stolen from me at the end.
Yeah, because at least with rent, you're like, you understand that it's...
You know your money's not going to building anything. But you're thinking your mind, and why is my mom going to screw me over? This is my house. And you're treating it like it's your house.
Mm-hmm.
Cover your own tail. That's what my dad always said.
You got
You ever
to.
eat verbal agreements? He said, I don't care if it's me. If I verbally agree to something, you gotta cover your own tail.
Yeah.
Get it in writing.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
it makes me wonder if there's like another sibling, if there's like favoritism. Maybe that's where the house was sold to, like this next story.
I don't think you actually thought that.
This next story is, am I the asshole for calling out my mom's golden child favoritism at family dinner? Can you pass the peas? And also...
Now that I talk about it, I feel like I'm always mixed on these things because I know there's favoritism. I know like it hurts to feel favoritism and like feel the effects of not being loved. But sometimes I'm like, do we gotta talk? You're dragging it out. Do we gotta talk about it at dinner? I feel like sometimes I am the family's like, why are you bringing it up now? We can talk about
But
this
are you
later.
talking from like, I honestly think my mom likes you the most? Or are you thinking from, no, she has a different favorite?
I think there would be arguments when we were kids that I was the favorite. But I think now my sister overwhelmingly is, just because she has a closer relationship with my mom and she's like very much in there, very much
Locked in.
Yeah, she's locked in with my mom and my sister are locked in now.
So you're saying
And I'm
as
not
from a
lying.
not favorite, you're like, let's move on,
I'm
guys.
fine with it. Like, yeah, like when they go do stuff like, oh, I did this or I'm like, hey, y'all locked in. Like, I'm not doing. But I guess that's also like, I guess it's different because like my sister's putting in effort and like doing that stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that. So I get it. I don't know. It's more along the lines of like, yes, there's clear favorites. I can't let that be my woe-begone cry for the rest of my life of why my life's going bad is because I was not the favorite of my parents.
Yeah.
Like I said it's done, it's gone. I need to move on with my life. I need to figure out how I'm going to have my life good without that. I don't like the whining aspect of it. If that makes any sense.
I feel like with some of the favoritism stories, though, it's not really whining. It's like, oh, no,
I think
this
some of
is-
them might be dragging it.
This is crazy. That's a clear favorite right there.
Because the mom's like, you say this every dinner. Yes, your sister's my favorite. What of it?
And you're like, Mom, you're literally passing around chicken. I'm allergic to freaking peanut chicken.
It's just covered in peanuts. There's so many peanuts.
That's the only thing that's at this table,
The dish
and
is made
it's
out of
airborne for me.
peanuts.
You think that doesn't matter? It's airborne for
They
me,
got
Mom.
Reese's for dinner.
Am I the asshole for calling out my mom's golden child favoritism at family dinner? I, 33 male, have always been the forgotten child compared to my younger sister, Sarah, 29 female. Growing up, Sarah was the straight A student, the star musician, the gifted one. Meanwhile, I was just average. I did fine in school, I got a decent job, and I built a stable life for myself. But because I was average, it never seemed to matter. My parents have always put Sarah on a pedestal, and I've spent years swallowing my resentment. We have a regular family dinner every Sunday at my parents' house. It's been a tradition for years, and while sometimes I dread it, I go because, well, it's family. This past Sunday, things really finally boiled over. The evening started like it always does. Mom and Dad showering Sarah with praise. She recently got a promotion at work, and the whole dinner was spent talking about how amazing she is, how proud they are, how she's always been so hardworking. I sat there listening while no one asked me about my job, my life, or anything I had going on. Then after dinner, my mom pulled out an envelope and handed it to Sarah. I didn't think much of it until Sarah opened it and gasped. It was a check for $15,000. My parents said it was to help her out with buying a house since the market's so tough right now. I just sat there in shock. I bought my first home 3 years ago. I drained my savings, I worked my ass off, and I did it completely on my own. I never got a dime from my parents, not even an offer. So I asked, did you ever think to help me when I was buying a house? The room got quiet. My mom looked uncomfortable before saying, well, Sarah has had more challenges. I felt my face get hot, and I asked, what challenges? She makes more than I do. My dad sighed and said, come on, don't be like that. It's just a little help. And that's when I lost it. I told them I was sick of being treated like an afterthought, that it's always been Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. Well, I get nothing. That it was pretty clear who their favorite was, and I was done pretending it didn't bother me. My mom started crying. My dad told me I was being dramatic. And Sarah? She just sat there, looking guilty, but saying nothing. I left, and since then, my parents have been texting me about how I ruined family dinner and about how I could have handled it privately instead of making a scene. Sarah texted saying she understands why I'm upset, but I didn't need to embarrass Mom. Now I'm wondering, was I the asshole for finally calling them out, even if it made things messy?
I take it back. No, that should have been done.
Crash out enabled.
You had to.
So like clear favoritism.
That is very
But also,
clear.
If you're going to be a favoritism and have a favorite in private.
Yeah.
At the table,
Don't
publicly,
do
you're
checks.
given $15,000. Like, this is favoritism. You're not the asshole. But I can understand like parents being in different places with different children at different times.
Yeah.
Like, oh, when I had you, the oldest, we didn't have money like that to give you a house.
Right.
But also, like, if you're saying to your second and last child, I have money to give you now, we want to support you, we want to make it easier, because yes, the economy is really tough right now, and it seemingly gets worse all the time, and it gets harder and harder for people to be able to just be above water.
Right.
But do that in private, not in front of the other sibling who didn't get that same opportunity. You know?
And treat people with simple courtesy, especially if the way the dinner going, like, oh, Sarah, you did so good at your job. You're doing so good at things. Like, even strangers know that if I'm asking someone something, I'll ask the other person the same thing, just to be like, hey, we're all participating in this conversation. And I feel like as a parent, you should know that doubly. Like, I've been showing this kid a lot of attention. Even if I subconsciously, that is my favorite kid, and that's why I care. I still love this kid, and I want to make sure that, hey, what your job? You have a job, right?
Because I feel like that's the last thing parents want to do is purposely exclude their kid. Like when they can notice, like, hey, this one kid is feeling a little quiet. Let me try and include them in the conversation somehow. And you want to at least try and, even if there's like different things of like, oh, I get along with this kid more. Just spend, this is the worst idea, the most inconsiderate situation I think I've ever seen in a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that if I agree with this crash out, because sometimes the favoritism is so strong, and I think it shows with the mother's response. I'm so locked in this favoritism, I don't even know what I'm doing. I can't even see that I'm doing it, because she's like, oh, you just weren't in the right. I think this is the first time they even considered not doing something for OP.
Yeah.
Like, they're finally being confronted with it. They're like, actually, I don't really have a reason. I just, like, this is just how I live my life. Sarah's it. Sarah's be all, well, I don't even consider you. So now I have to come up with a reason to say why I didn't do these things or why I didn't talk to you.
Yeah. And it's even more tough because he's a firstborn. So, you know, obviously having, like you were saying earlier, just not having the opportunities that you could raising the firstborn child as opposed to the secondborn, it, you know, that jealousy could kind of get to you over years, especially. My mom called it out on me the other day because she just got a new car, and Elise had, she was sharing a car with my sister, then gave my sister the car and got another car. I had to buy my own, but I was fine with it because thinking about the timing, it was all bad timing. I was like, I need my own car. I'm gonna get my own car. I don't care. But she was parking in the garage still. And I remember when we were first looking for a house, my parents were like, oh yeah, we're going to get a 3-car garage so you can have a space in there. Didn't work out that way. Fine. But now that my mom has the new car, she was still parking outside. To me, I was like, well, that's Mom. She deserves the garage spot. Why is Elise still getting the garage spot? And she's like, well, you always have been one for fairness, like making sure we're keeping up and up, you know, and everybody's equal. But I was like, I don't want to say no because that might have been me, but my genuine thought first was, you're the oldest person, like you're older than Elise.
You're the parent.
Anthony,
Yeah.
It's your house. It's not Elise's house.
Is what I'm saying. You're like, Mom, you're old.
That's honestly what I heard you say, and I didn't want to
That's basically
disrespect
what-
Miss
that's what I'm
Denise like
like.
that, but Sam can do that because
Yeah.
that's his aunt.
Like, you're really old. I want you to walk a shorter distance to the door.
Oh my God. Brennan, that's your mom.
Yeah. Facts.
Not him. No, I was going to say defend your mom from Sam.
We're literally talking years on this earth. She just has spent more time. What I'm saying is that we have to respect our elders. And elders is a wide range. It can range from like me, I'm an elder to you,
Well, we knew that.
to extremely old people.
Not his patience, Warrington. He said, shut up. The fact that Sam was really trying to find it within those 5 seconds, it was funny. But anyway, changing the subject, like this next story. Am I the asshole for changing my mind?
No.
Okay.
You're always good to do that.
My wife, female 26, and I, male 27, have been together for about 7 years now. We do have a 5-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. Everything seemed to be okay until 2 years ago. Unfortunately, I found out my wife had been having an affair with a coworker that lasted over a year. Heartbroken, I had left my house for about 2 weeks, but I felt bad for leaving my kids behind. Just torn apart from leaving my kids and also hurt from being cheated on. Thoughts in my head kept on saying, go back with her because my kids will get raised by someone else. Those thoughts kept going on for a while until I decided to work things out with my wife. Everything seemed okay at first. We saw a therapist that helped us for about 6 months, bringing our relationship back to how it was in the beginning. Fast forward to now, I'm starting to get feelings of disgust and anger towards my wife. Even though I had forgiven her for what she had done, just the thought of her cheating on me and everything comes at random. It makes me feel no affection towards her. Now it's just like living with a roommate. We don't have any intimate time together anymore like we used to. So am I the asshole for taking back my wife and now feeling like I don't want to be with her anymore?
No.
No, but like the comments say, you need to get therapy because it's not fair for you to communicate that you want to be back with your wife and then you're still having these feelings that you need to move on from. Oh, Sam was well, hi. And then you still need to have these feelings of disgust because if you want your relationship to work, then if you want to leave, that's fine. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but if you want your relationship to work, you really have to move past these feelings of like disgust that you have towards your wife.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to help you or her when she thinks that you guys thought you were okay and you moved on, but then every once in a while you just keep getting triggered. And
I do agree with that.
yeah,
This is why I'm like, with cheating, for me, I think it would be ever hard to get past.
yeah,
because I do think the most important thing to get past is like, I truly am forgiving you, and I'm not going to bring it up as a token, as a thing to argue against you in the future.
Yeah.
Actually, what the was talking about on the in our last sermon, which I actually kind of like, was like, we don't bring up things older than 6 months. Things from 6 months before, I'm not using that as an argument, as a tool in an argument to use against you. And that's the thing they do to like prevent you having like, I have a long memory. You remember when you did that when we first got married, or first year of our relationship, and I'm using it as a thing that you do now? I'm like, that doesn't help. It doesn't, it's not like an incentive to build something. If you said you're going to get over this cheating, and you generally work through it, and you say, hey, I'm putting my best foot forward, you're putting your best foot forward, then that's where you got to rock with it. And you going back on it, I think it's perfectly fine. You might have not known what it actually takes to forgive this person. You should leave. I don't think you should be like sitting in this and be like, well, I'm just for the kid. I'm just going to have this roommate that I kind of hate just for the kids, because I don't think there's any value in that. You should definitely leave. But I don't think you're the asshole for changing your mind. Because I think a lot of people don't think of what the actual it takes to get over infidelity.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously same. Like, you go in with the intention to do better and find out that you can't. It is what it is, unfortunately. Therapy, but also, maybe it is time to look into that. Just parting ways, as much as it might suck. If it's that deep in you, because that is a crazy thing to have done to you, to be cheated on. And, you did have that hope to just get over it, but at the end of the day, if you really can't get over it, you just, it happened. That cheating is a deal breaker for a lot of people for just that reason.
And it's not fair to put yourself in a situation where you're not happy.
Right.
To have like a perfect family for the kids, because I feel like your unhappiness will seep out and the kids will notice it, whether it's now or later. And then that might potentially seep into how they think romantic relationships are supposed to work. And so I think at the end of the day, it's not like, you were the reason that she cheated. She cheated.
Right.
And it is what it is. And that is going to cause potential to be a broken family. But that doesn't mean that you're going to have somebody replacing you as a dad. That means that maybe if she gets married or you even remarry, they might have more parental figures, but I don't think it's going to be like I get what you're saying, OP, but I don't think it's going to be taking your place as a dad, because at the end of the day, you can still be a father, whether it's a single parent or with somebody else, because it's not like you chose to be in that situation and then you want to come back. You were trying to make the best, like Brandon was saying, like Sam was saying, and it just didn't work. And that's at the end of the day, that is what it is. But you don't need to sacrifice your happiness for something you think you're doing to better the kids, when they could probably be in a better or happier situation if you two were separated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be tough and heavy on the kids no matter what. I mean, whether they see their parents in an unhappy marriage or they see their parents not together anymore because of something happening, it's still going to be tough for the kids. But I think it's good to consider your happiness, because you have to be solid for them for a very long time. So you should be the best that you can be in whatever state that is.
And if it is that you have to, if the option is to be alone, at the end of the day, the kids will be watching. So, if you want to be that good example, just show resilience. That, and it could probably be tough, like hearing that in like a little point, but showing resilience and, just keeping the fact that your kids are watching you and you want them to be better than you, seeing a situation this tough and you come out 10 times stronger after it, it's going to do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to read top comment because it is a little long, but I think it's a really good comment. And it's a very wide, encompassing, understanding comment. I think it's a really good comment.
Okay. I'm excited for this comment.
So top comment, you didn't forgive her. You just convinced yourself that you should. This is something you need to sort out with a professional therapist first, and then you will need to talk to your wife about whether you want it or not. If the two of you are still together, this topic is probably a source of enormous shame and regret for your wife. In her mind, she will likely feel like she's done the work to earn back your trust, so she will not be happy to hear any of this. Expected responses from her might be anger, ironically maybe a feeling of betrayal, sadness, depression, etc. However, all of that being said, you have a right to your feelings. That doesn't mean it's appropriate for you to punish her as a result of them, though. Again, you really need to sort it out with a therapist. You're going to get a flood of comments from people saying, once a cheater, or she made her choice. First, understand that this is mental revenge porn for most of the people. Second, realize anyone giving you a black and white answer doesn't have the best interest in mind. Infidelity is like a serious earthquake in a relationship. Sometimes the damage is done and there's no going back. Things will just collapse and it can never be repaired. However, most of the time, if egos and insecurities can be set aside, the structure of a relationship can be repaired and rebuilt stronger than ever. With mature adults, it's remarkable how often this is the case. Finally, everyone will hate this, but through the course of therapy, you need to ask yourself, what was my role in this infidelity? Every time I read these stories, people jump into this victim mentality as if this is 100% something another person has done to them. It's incredibly rare and a psychological outlier for a person to freely cheat without basis or justification. That doesn't mean you're responsible for her cheating, but you were a part of that relationship when it broke down. Your wife obviously failed you, but how have you failed her? Everyone has failed their partner. Everyone. I'm not in any way suggesting to assign blame to yourself for her cheating. Just consider that she has a perspective and a version of the story that's different than your own. If you want your relationship to work, you both have to stop thinking about yourselves and put your efforts into caring for each other. So either that was a really thought out response or that was AI.
I'm in love with Tom Commenter.
And
that was really
it was paragraphs.
beautiful.
Look at that.
Shout their
Formatting.
name. Who's the username?
Shout out you/alternative ad 5826.
Alternative ad 5826. For the love of my life.
He's not skipping you.
That's the chick from Dallas.
You're like, I know it.
Yeah, like it almost brought tears in my eyes again. She's affecting me through text. No, that is so good. I've never heard the earthquake analogy before. That's an interesting way to look at it. I guess I really do agree with that two people who are both set on getting through it and like mature and like actually analyzing their behaviors and what brought into it can get past an infidelity. I just think largely in situations, and it's typically the person who cheats, they're not in a place to actually like be mature or like think about why their actions did what they did. But I do think I do agree with that with top commenter. Like if we're both like being mature, being very honest with why this happened, why this went down, and steps we can do to make sure it doesn't happen again, you can get over it cheating. And that's how I would want to approach it. Only if I'm married though. If I'm married, I am going to try. But if you cheat on me when we're dating, I'm out. I don't care. I'm like, I don't have the energy to want to. There's people out there. I just don't want to be with someone who cheats in a dating relationship. We tried.
You failed the trial run.
That's pretty much my rule. I'm like, if we're dating, if you cheat on me, one and done.
Yeah.
You're out.
It would be kind of tough to convince myself to marry someone who cheated on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I'm also similar to, because I think Sam said it earlier, I really, just because of what I've seen with family, how cheating really destroys people, I think it would be so much work just to really rectify that entire relationship.
Yeah.
And it's better off just leaving it be because of all the trust issues that come with that. And it just, yeah.
But I do like the two sides, like what you contributed to it. I remember I dated a girl. It was a long distance relationship, and this was in the phase where I'm like, I don't know if I really want to be in this, so I'm just going to be like emotionally distant and like be like, which is already death for a long distance relationship. You have to be in contact to keep that thing. And I was like, I'm just going to like slowly just be distant from her. And she ended up cheating on me with this guy that I knew, like they were friends. And the way it came out, I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely just doing this to like get my attention. Cause I'm like, I've been that way. But for me, I was like, oh, this is an excuse. You did the bad thing. You did the cheating, so you're the bad guy in this situation. Knowing that I was not feeding this relationship at all. I was not putting anything into it. Yeah. I did play a part in that.
Yeah.
Even if she didn't just like tell me like, why are you doing this? Why are you pulling away? Why are you doing this? She cheated to do her thing. That was wrong. But I'm like, that doesn't mean I'm absolved from this at all. So I get there always are two sides. And I like it's either basis or justification of the person. Like, it doesn't mean right or wrong. Like, I did that. It doesn't mean it's right to cheat on me. But there was a justification in that person's mind when they did it. They're looking for comfort. They're looking for solace. They're looking for something different. They're looking for like there is a reason, and it's caused by whatever is happening in the relationship.
Yeah.
And that should help you moving forward in relationships, hopefully new ones, where you're like, okay, this happened. Maybe I can communicate better in the situation. Maybe I can do something different. Still try to find someone who will also communicate before they cheat.
Right.
But now I know, at least on my side, this is something I can do to help our relationship get the best foot forward.
But again, like the commenter was saying, we are in no way trying to say that it's ever the person who gets cheated on fault or OP's fault for that situation.
But I'm like, I'm just trying to better myself. I'm always I want to get in a relationship where I don't have to get out. So any lessons I can learn, I want to use them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was such a great comment.
Yeah.
That was on ours.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because it's like, it's a great comment. And thank you for sharing your story.
Top comment award.
Yeah.
Oh, top story award.
Yeah, because I think it adds... Because I think it adds to like a good discussion of, well, am I the asshole for going back? I think either Sam or Brandon said it. It makes sense why you would want to try and make it work. You guys both said it.
Yeah.
It makes sense why you would want to try and make it work and then realize it doesn't. Am I the asshole for leaving my ex in the hotel while I enjoyed my birthday in the club?
Because in the club?
Leave your ex?
Because in the club.
Fam.
It's a rule I live by. I don't care what my ex does at all, and I don't care if I leave them or do anything. They're my ex. It doesn't matter to me.
Unless it's a fresh ex.
Am I the asshole for leaving my ex in the hotel while I enjoyed my birthday at the club? So I was in a relationship that honestly felt like a movie. He cared about me out loud and did anything I asked. One day, out of the blue, he asked if we could just be friends. I was devastated, but I complied with his wishes. I feel like if you make someone stay when they want to leave, it will hurt you more in the end. He said he wanted to work on himself because at the time he was living with his mom and had no running vehicle. A few months go by and he tried to get in contact with me via people in numerous social accounts. He had requested to take me on a date multiple times. It just so happened to be my birthday this month, so I took him up on the offer. He asked about my preference of alcohol. I stated something cheap would be fine. He disregards me and buys an expensive bottle. We then go to Buffalo Wild Wings to get some food with my older niece. He lets me know he only has a few dollars, which instantly makes me mad because who told you to get a bottle that expensive to where you can't afford your meal? So I slide him the money under the table so no one sees. Our food comes out and my meal has peppers. I didn't like them and I offered to give them to my niece when he stabs the plate and declares that he's going to eat them. This left a bad taste in my mouth. I signaled to my niece to wrap this meal up. We drove him back to the hotel and left him. We ended up going club hopping and had a blast the whole night. I made it back to the room around 4:15. He immediately commented on how late it was. All I could do was cry. I was mad he was in my room. I was over him altogether. Yet I felt bad because I took him up on the offer of the date and did not enjoy it one bit. Am I the asshole?
No, there's no obligation. Dates don't obligate anyone to anything. You don't owe anyone anything. You don't owe them your time after. I am a big component of like being respectful during a date, but once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're the asshole for taking. Wait, why did he go back to the hotel room?
I don't know.
That was.
People in the comments were saying she should have kicked him out of the hotel room too.
Yeah.
Why was he? And this is like a rejoining, right? They're not in a relationship. They broke up. This is like a new kind of newish thing where they're trying to revisit.
Yeah, he wanted to take her out, and she was like, "Well, it's my birthday, so yeah, you can take me out for a meal."
And is this him taking out like, hey, I'm trying to reconnect, or is this take out like as a friend, or what?
Yeah, I'm
I've-
kind of confused by this story.
I think it is a reconnection of like, let's go on a date.
Okay.
It seems like it's like a, hey, let's get back in each other's lives
Yeah.
and see what happens. Like, since, it's been a few months, maybe he's changed. But
Which he fumbled because I'm y'all know I'm a big person of sharing checks, splitting checks. But if I'm trying to reconnect with someone, I'm trying to put my best foot forward. I already kind of messed up by just ending it out of the blue. I'm gonna have enough money to pay for the date, right? Like that's crazy. Like, yeah, I ain't got no money. Can you? Did he ask her to slip it under? Like, hey, pretend like.
I don't know. She didn't mention that, but I don't know if she did that because she
whole thing
thought.
where I'm like, you lost right there, bud. So after that, I'm like, hey, we're done. You go back to the hotel. We're gonna have fun. That's it.
And then the whole fact of the alcohol, like actually buying the. She said something cheap, bro. Just listen.
Listen, literally.
Just listen. It didn't take that much to just do what she asked.
Yeah, that money goes to
So then you would have been
beat-ups.
set up for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Because you offered dinner and couldn't pay for dinner. But it's all because you didn't listen in the first place.
And then it sounds like you drove her to Buffalo Wild Wings and you couldn't even pay for yourself. Like, at least be able to pay for yourself if you can't pay for her.
You
and
got
niece.
you. I got me.
Right.
He was like, I got $3.
He has a.
That alcohol was so expensive. I
What do you
spent
buy?
all my money on it.
At that point, if you really don't have the money like that, reschedule a freaking date or be like, listen, I, had this money. I got you this gift. I know
Yeah.
you said something cheap or whatever, but I got you this gift. I can't eat, but I'll reach out to you another time,
Yeah.
or I hope you have a good night or something like that. I mean, that would still be very disappointing, but at least something other than, so I just ordered, I'll get the 12 wings, lemon pepper. Yeah, no, just carrots. Just carrots. Yes. Yeah. Double ranch. Yeah.
Not double
So you like the
ranch.
bottle? You like the bottle? You like the bottle, Brandon?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So rock. About to rock your world.
I didn't want Ciroc.
Well, I know you said something cheap, but to me that's expensive.
I was like Tito's,
Yeah. But
Nothing
did you
crazy.
see I wrote on it on the back? It's about to rock your world.
This is like a brand by a guy that's really bad too. Like, why did you buy Ciroc out of all things?
Who owns it? Dwayne Johnson? Sir Rock?
Diddy owns it.
Diddy, yeah.
Oh, Daddy, yeah.
No,
That guy, I learned so much from him.
Diddy.
Wait, do you call Diddy Daddy?
You guys don't call P. Diddy for that?
No,
No.
that's
okay.
the worst person you should probably call that.
What videos are you watching? Maybe I'm missing.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
Maybe I'm missing something.
You've not been paying attention to the news at all. You
I
never
don't have
watch-
internet.
Oh, that makes sense.
Why?
By the way,
You can't afford it.
can I get a root beer? Yeah. So, that bottle. Spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
I don't have any money for the date tonight. Like, it just ended up being that way. I didn't mean to happy birthday, but I only have $2 right now. I get paid Friday, and I can pay you back for this meal unless you want to be nice
You're not
and
going to take
courteous.
that, right? That's crazy.
Hey,
You're just gonna-
sound the broke alert.
Okay. I'm finding my phone.
Sound it. No, this is fine. Do you need some money?
Broke boy.
You guys are funny.
Put on the intercom.
No, you don't have to do
Hey,
that.
waiter, come here.
Hey, we
You
got
could
bottle
just give
service
it-
for the
you could
brokies.
just-
Can you put this on the
If I
sound
could just
system?
borrow some money from you.
Oh, you want some money? You want some?
Broke boy.
What?
people in
where
the
is he?
restaurant. Broke
Where
boy.
is he?
Broke
Boy.
boy.
Who's the broke boy?
It's him.
Boy. Yeah, we got
It's
you some
him.
bills. Look.
Broke boy.
Lift it up. Main entree. Lift it.
Oh, thank
Show
you.
him, show him.
Dollar
That works.
bills. Dollar
Broke
bills.
boy.
Just for you.
Thank you. This is a $20 meal. Listen, the next time we go out, I can pay for you.
You sure?
Bay, can I call you Bay? I mean,
No.
like,
Wow, that's you can't lead with that.
can I have some money? You know?
I actually like that. Maybe you should go. I didn't know he was funny like this.
That makes it hard.
That's like the one thing of like why I was really like why she was going for me this whole time
Yeah.
is like I'm not the cutest, but like I'm funny. Right? Like I'm the funniest around.
You're really funny. Why did you break up with her in the first place?
Funny and broke.
That's funny.
Yeah,
See,
not
his
as
bank
funny as
account's
me,
funny,
but-
honestly.
Because a
Oh,
woman
there's
could
so
never
many jokes.
because a woman could never be funnier than me, but
Okay, and that's a problem. That's a red flag, I think,
Yeah.
right there as well.
Yeah.
Which
It's
so
is
not
like
the money,
you don't
though.
need to
The
try
money was
those
fine?
Yeah.
games.
Was the money being funny fine, or was it just the money?
Wow, Bay, really?
Yeah.
And I really, this is my.
Well, your name's
niece?
Bailey,
My
so I just
niece?
call you.
I'm your niece.
Yeah, you-
Okay, and
That's your niece.
Older niece. So.
TT. Don't call my TT Bay. Why did you break up with her?
Why did I break up?
Yes.
Well, you know, it was just a few months ago. It was just kind of hard living life. And I really needed to focus on myself. And then when I realized I liked lemon pepper more than I thought, like I realized I missed lemon pepper more than I thought I was going to miss lemon pepper. And so I was like, let me see what like lemon pepper is doing. Like lemon pepper with your pepper steppers, you look good.
So is TT lemon pepper? Or
No.
is- you
We're
literally
at
talked
Buffalo
about
Wild
lemon
Wings because
pepper?
I wanted lemon
So
pepper
this ain't
wings.
about me.
So this was a plot.
It is about you.
You plotted to get her to pay
Because-
for your. Don't touch her. Don't touch her.
Because the way that she is lemon pepper wings.
So she's lemon pepper wings. You missed it,
Yeah.
but you also have lemon pepper wings. And
Yeah,
you missed
it's like,
that
was
as
that-
well.
A ploy.
Um,
You couldn't even afford the lemon pepper wings.
well, that is a. Have you guys tried the carrot sticks yet?
Why are you eating them? Because you have no. We haven't even said who's going to pay for them, but you're already eating full wings.
Oop, that's a lot of.
I'm about to send you back there to do the dishes.
I can do the dishes at your house. I can
Nah.
wash your laundry. I can give you a little massage.
Oh,
Nah, because you weren't good at
TT.
Can
that.
massage those cheeks, back of those cheeks.
No.
No, don't fall
I can do it
for
for you. I can
it.
do it for you.
Oh my god!
Are you
But,
guys?
like,
Are you
is
guys
it- no?
staying?
No.
Are you guys staying in a residence tonight?
Why you need to know? We're just go back to your house after
Yeah.
this.
And I will, but
But
if you
Yeah.
need that massage service, babe, like I can do that for you.
TT, he got you dickmatized. Do not fall for it. Do not fall for it.
Because it's like I know there's stress in those shoulders. I could really just
Plus,
you know
I'm
what I do
staying
with
in
my
the same
thumbs.
room as you, TT. It'll be weird.
But we go to the club. You're not even gonna remember tonight.
That is, you're a bad aunt. That's a bad aunt.
and you guys go to the club, I can come pick you up. If you just give me your car keys, I can come pick you up. You guys can get as drunk as you want.
Free Uber.
No, that's not a good. This is a bad idea. I don't know why. I don't get what's attracting to you right now.
Oh
there
my
has to be something that I'm
gosh.
missing in this.
Oh my god.
Because everything's bad what he's doing, but you're like thinking about it, which is
But
weird.
it's like, it's just like, was it really that? Like the money was funny. I was laughing sometimes. I was laughing when that bottle served. You can't do that with a rich person. They pay for the whole venue.
That's true.
When there's a broke person, you can order bottle girls over here to give them money. You can't do that with a rich person.
Hey, why are you talking about me like that?
Because you are broke.
and I think we've established
Yeah,
that
we've
you're firmly
established
broke.
that. Like,
I'm very giving with my love. I can give you love and you can give me a place to sleep tonight. And honestly,
I'm less
Honestly-
mad at you now. I'm getting more mad at my aunt because she's thinking way too hard about this.
But,
oh
like,
my
look at
god!
that.
Oh my,
Stress relieving.
oh my god!
immediately.
It's working.
it seems like you're a little stiff and I can loosen you up. That's all I have to say.
Oh. And normally I'm like, hey, yo, good for you. But I'm mad. He's bad.
But he's good. And so
And I'm guessing he's good in a way that I can't understand. Is what
no
you're
way
saying.
you can't understand.
Not yet. You'll run into a guy like me one day.
I never want to. That's a curse you just put on my life. I never want to run into a guy like you.
Hey, babe, do you have like deodorant on you?
Oh my, he doesn't even know how to clean himself.
Because I know you love my scent when I get a little sweaty, but I do need some deodorant for a job interview tomorrow.
Help me. You have to help me.
I'm trying to, I want to leave him here. I just want to, let's just get up right now and just walk out. I don't want to take him anywhere.
At least
Just
with the
get
bottle
up.
of Ciroc.
Yeah, we'll take the Ciroc.
Okay.
Could you give me like the 20 though under the table, babe? And then I could tip out the
Take
server.
the bottle. Let's go. Okay.
I'm still slide
Okay.
because I don't want him to get in trouble.
Like, who cares about him?
Oh my
Oh
goodness,
my
I
God.
love you. I miss you so much. You were such a light in my life.
Oh no! Don't let this
And-
work.
Yeah. Let me
The way
Can I
that
just grab this bottle of Ciroc, please?
no, yes, you can have it. That's yours, babe.
Yeah.
That's yours,
Yeah.
and I can give you as much Ciroc as you want. And you showing me to be your ride for the Uber?
You know what?
TT, let's go.
She's saying I gotta.
Hey! I got the bill for us.
I'm
You
the
look really
waiter.
cute tonight.
Are you the broke boy?
I'm not the broke boy. You got the wrong table.
Okay,
And if you
'cause-
want to talk to me like that, then we can go outside.
Oh my
If you want to keep your job, you might want to stay in here.
Okay.
And if you want to tip, you might want to bring in my cash back fast.
Okay. I'm sorry, sir. I'll get you that right away. Okay.
I'm sorry about that, babe. The way that they talk around here is kind of crazy.
Here's your 17 cents back and change.
Keep that.
You son
And see.
Keep that.
It's not even yours to give.
Yeah, you got it from her.
That's the quality of work that I think that you deserve. The quality of a
That is such a response that he would say the way you're like, really? You treat me with respect.
Oh no, you can have that. You
yeah,
got. Don't worry about it.
A dime and a nickel.
I need that
Hey,
5
keep
cents.
that. That's for you, boo.
And one is like a amazing pizza machine token.
No.
Amazing pizza machine token and a
Can't
penny.
use this.
This is not American Tender.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, what an episode that we had
What
today.
an episode.
Tonight's stories.
Update 7 years later.
Moving out.
Pass it on.
Blowing up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Comfort Level Podcast. I'm Maddie, and I'm here with.
Brandon.
Sam.
Jazz.
Husker. If you guys hear Husker in the kennel, it's because he was not being a good boy today. He bit our beloved guest, Jasmine.
Now he's locked up.
Hurt me.
I won't let him out.
Won't let him out.
Free Husker, aka Husk Bus.
Hey,
Free
Husk
Husky
Buzz.
Booski. Also, did you guys see that that guy who you're talking about that does the YouTube channel with the frosted tips?
Drewski.
Yeah,
That was such
you
a
hate
weird
my.
way to describe
I didn't know how to
Drewski.
describe him because I forgot his name.
I was getting
I'm like,
madder and madder
frosted
'cause
tips.
I knew what she was talking about immediately, but I'm like, I'm not saying his name.
And his like show Flavor of Love or something. What is it? It's
I
something
heard
of
it's
love.
funny.
It could have been love.
Could have been love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
I haven't watched it, but I heard it's really funny.
Yeah, I heard I saw the first episode came out the other night, but I didn't watch it.
I think it's bad for the culture, but it's also hilarious. So I'm supporting it.
It's the worst thing that could have came out during Black History Year. But
Awful that it came to Black History Month, but yeah. So
But you're like, I am gonna
I
watch
am
it, and
gonna
I'll
watch
let you
every
know about
episode,
it.
and I'm gonna laugh every time.
I'm gonna watch it today. I'll be honest.
Jazz, you almost died coming here today.
Yeah, it was a uphill battle for sure, but I made it.
Literally, wow.
Somebody tried to run me off the road.
Oh,
Husker tried to take me out.
oh my God! Crazy.
But I'm here.
You're here.
And she's
you made
here.
it.
Okay, so this first story is: am I the asshole for not passing it on at the food cart?
No.
For not passing it on.
Yeah.
Like buying somebody else's meal.
Oh,
Yeah.
someone bought in front of you.
No.
Oh yeah. I do wonder if someone bought your meal You're like, well, thank you. And the person's like kind of looking. It's like 4 people did in a row, and you're just like,
And the person behind you is like,
you're like, you got a family of 4. You can do it. You got it.
Exactly. It depends. Like if it's a single
Yeah, I
person
was single
and it's
person.
a whole group of people behind you
They
that's
hungry
going to
too,
be
they're
on
like-
one check.
Free food. You're like, nah, you got it.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
It's like at one point it has to stop.
It has to.
So,
But you can I don't want to be the one to stop it. That is a horrible feeling to be like,
yeah, I usually just take whatever I would have and just put it towards that person. That's how I pass it on.
I got $5 on it.
That makes sense.
How much is their meal? Oh, it's $50. Yeah, I'm gonna put $2
Yeah.
on that.
10%, like a tithe.
Tell them to pass it on.
It's only happened to me once, but it was like the person behind me only ordered a sweet tea and I had like a full meal. So I was like, oh yeah, just put it towards that one. They're like, they only have a sweet tea. And I was like,
You're like, yeah, perfect for me.
that works.
Wait, so you say first, I'll do it, and then they tell you?
No, they're like, hey, the person in front of you paid for your meal. Do you want to pass it on?
That's
Wow,
crazy. That's
whoa.
actually, I'm getting out. I'm leaving. I'm like, how dare you try to put that on me? You don't know my life. You don't know my struggle. I don't want to pay for I came to pay my meal. I'm pulling down the drive-thru and I'm leaving.
It was McDonald's, if that helps.
That's fake, dude. Because now I got to say no to you.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? No. I'm the bad guy.
Okay, am I the asshole for not passing it on at the food cart? I was standing in a long line at the food cart waiting to get a popcorn refill, and the gentleman ahead of me gave his order and then said, and whatever he wants, directing his generous smile my way. I immediately protested and said, sir, no, you don't need to pay for mine. But he said he wanted to, and I didn't want it to be a thing, so I thanked him. And then he looked at me in the eye and expectantly said, pass it on. He smiled again and looked at the long line behind me before turning to get his order. I got my refill of popcorn and said, thank you, again. And he looked so disappointed that I left instead of saying, I'll pay for the next guy behind me. And he stopped me and seriously said, make sure you pass it on someday. I repeated the words of someone I tried to pay back. Pay it forward, that's what it's all about. I thanked him again and escaped. But I came for the cheapest thing on the menu. Popcorn is like $2, and there was a large family behind me. And most people were coming in big groups for alcohol. So I might have gotten free popcorn, and I appreciate the gesture, but I might then have to shell out $50 for beer or for a bunch of randos. And I've never liked the whole pass it on thing. It's generous of the first person, and then the last person gets a freebie. But as it's often said here, all of the middle people get their prices randomized, and it's a headache for the workers. So I will pay it forward sometime, and I definitely have in the past, but I didn't play along in the moment, and I could tell the man felt his grand gesture was wasted. So am I the asshole?
No.
No.
You got set up.
And that man needs to get out his feelings about that $2 popcorn.
Wait, did
Right.
he watch you? Did he
Yeah.
wait and just look at it? I'm like, nah, dude.
Pass it on.
You said someday. It
Right.
ain't got to be today.
Well, at first he said pass it on.
Yeah.
He was like, pass it on.
That's crazy.
Have y'all seen Pay It Forward? The
No.
movie? I think it came like 2000.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Oh, so it's a vintage movie.
That's crazy.
Oh, the way I almost left out.
I'm kidding.
I almost left out of the chair. I was like,
I'm
oh.
kidding.
But it's like I think it starts with a little boy doing something nice for someone, and then the movie follows the good that follows from that one little action,
I have heard of the movie.
which is like cute. It's very nice, but it's like you don't do it with the expectation that this other person has to do something.
Right.
You're doing the action for you. Like, I feel good doing this. I'm going to do this for you. It could stop right there, but that shouldn't affect
Exactly.
you at all. Man watching my movements on the little $2 popcorn. Actually, where are you at that $2 popcorn? I don't know what kind of place this is.
I don't
haven't
know.
gotten
need
movie
that.
popcorn.
I feel like it's not from the States because he said it's a food cart.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
Oh yeah, that don't sound like the U.S. at all. Plus, somebody from the U.S. would have smuggled. Goes to concessions.
Like-
They said pass it
anymore.
on. It's about $25 for one person. Why would I pass it on?
Right.
I can't afford it. You think I can afford you?
I think it's also that the gift rule kind of plays into this. You can't determine what someone does with the gift that
Oh,
you
yeah.
give them. If you decide to pay it forward, that's on
That's
you.
you, bud.
Right.
That's you. And then the fact that he turns around and there's a whole family behind him, that's funny.
Yeah, I think it's good that he stood his ground and was like, I appreciate what you did, but I said you didn't even have to pay for me. I was
Right.
going to tell you to not do it.
Right.
And people said in the comments too, they're like, if you like denied and he really wanted to keep doing the pass it on thing, then he could have skipped you in line and paid for that family and then told them to pass it on, you know?
And they're like, I have 3 kids. Why am I going to pass it? I
He
can't
saw that
afford
big
it.
group back there too. He didn't want to come out of $50.
Plot twist, it's like the dad of the family.
Oh, he just moved up. Oh, that's crazy.
Wow.
That would be crazy.
Oh my
Pay for
God. Pay it for.
I'm $50 in the red. You gotta pay for it.
That would be a good
so
trick.
good. I would love that.
If
Then
people try that in the comments, I'm sorry we introduced you to
Dude.
that, but that's diabolical.
That's such
let
a
us
great
know how it
scam. But the kids aren't in on it. They're like, Dad, why are you away from me? He's like, shut up.
My kids ain't gonna eat.
I don't know you. Pay it forward. I don't know them kids.
I don't know you.
But they brought up a good point in the whole thing. It does work if it's just 2 people. If you're going in a line, you're like, well, I'm just paying a thing that I normally would have paid for myself. It's weird
Yeah.
to go in a line of just paying the next person. I might as well just pay for mine.
Mm-hmm. The good deed was done there.
Yeah, it's done. End it.
End it. Stop. Drop it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Popeye. I'm going to Popeyes after the gym,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna pay it forward.
So this next story is, am I the asshole for not letting my girlfriend have a slice of my birthday cake after what she did last year?
Yes. Last year.
Dang,
Yes.
that's petty. He's like, I've been waiting for this.
What can you say? Right time, but the wrong guy.
Yeah. Last year on my birthday, my girlfriend, 26 female, ate the last piece of my cake while I was at work.
Oh my God.
Not just any cake, my favorite cake that my mom makes from scratch every year.
Oh.
I had specifically told her I was saving the last slice for when I got home, and when I asked her about it, she just shrugged and went, "Oh, I didn't think you'd care." No apology, nothing. I was pretty annoyed, but didn't make a big deal out of it. Fast forward to this year, my mom made me the same cake again. My girlfriend asks for a slice, and I told her, "Nah, after what happened last year, this one's all mine." She laughed at first, but when she realized I was being serious, she got pissed. Said I was being ridiculous about holding a grudge over a cake. I told her it wasn't about the cake. It was about her completely disregarding me last time. Now she's barely speaking to me, and a couple of our friends are saying I'm being petty. I don't think I am. If she couldn't respect it last year, why would she get it again this year? Am I the asshole?
Over cake?
Over
Literally.
cake.
You're not talking over cake.
I think that's just petty. But that's just me.
I think it's a little bit of an asshole thing. Yeah, I don't think I think he's right to be angry and like annoyed in the moment. Because I would have been, if I'm thinking about that last piece of cake and it's gone, that is something that
But a whole year later.
a whole year is the crazy part. And you're like, oh, I didn't make a big deal of it.
Yeah, it is.
You've been thinking about it for a year because you've been waiting for this other cake to not give her a slice of it.
Like literally all year, you're like,
Yeah.
I can't wait till my mom
can't
make this cake
wait.
again, so I can't give her a piece. Like, come on now.
That's the assholeish part to me is that wait and then following through on it. And I'm guessing it's an entire cake.
Right? Because if that's how you handle cake,
Yeah.
how do you handle serious problems in your relationship?
Yeah. How serious is this girlfriend to you for cake to be the downfall?
Break up
Yeah.
with her.
Exactly. If it's that deep, because as a food lover, I do understand having like sentimental value food and just certain things
Yeah.
that you just love and you want to enjoy, and it just really gets in your nerves when like somebody asks you for a piece of it and you're like, no. So, but yeah, but it's not that deep to be carrying that a year later. It's insane.
Because I think if it was a big issue, which understandable, even if this wasn't his girlfriend and it was a roommate that ate the last piece of cake, even after he communicated, hey, this is my piece of cake, I'm going to
Yeah.
eat it. And so when he got home and it was gone, and then she had no disregard for it, like he's saying, and she didn't apologize, that's when he should have talked about it and made a big deal about it then, to be like, hey, that really bothered me that, yes, it's cake, but I told you I was going to eat it, and you didn't leave the last slice for me.
Right.
You took it, and then you didn't care that you took it. That bothers me. But then at that point, it's like you guys have to work to get through that to see if you really want to continue with the relationship. Because, like I was saying, this really could be the end of your relationship if you keep doing something like that. I think it's understandable how you got to that perspective, but like, just let her have a slice of cake and then be like, hey, I want most of this cake, but you can have some cake.
Right.
But if you don't eat the last slice or take the last slice to work or something, I don't know, if you really think she's going to eat it again, or if that's such a big issue, you guys need to talk about it, because that's something that's been building up for the past year to now she's looking at this cake. And I think he says in the comments, it's a chocolate ganache cake. I don't know what that means, but probably a really good cake.
Sounds fancy.
It sounds good.
But my thing is, if this situation can make or break your relationship,
That's what I was gonna say.
y'all shouldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I understand like being upset and y'all have like a discussion about it and then like move on. But if it's like it's affecting you, I think you got some things to work on before you be in like a relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
Well,
But also, I
sorry.
think he should work on something as a person. You shouldn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Hold like a grudge for a year. That's concerning. To hold that, because I'm a big person. I don't like petty arguments. Like, yeah, Maddie knows. I if it's something like little, it doesn't take much to just be like, oh, like let's just talk about it, get out of the way.
Conversation. Simple.
Yeah, because sometimes even a petty disagreement is just a conversation. Like, you know, there's some things that could lead to like arguments or disagreements, but petty stuff is just a conversation. I didn't like what you did. You disregarded. It is about the cake, but it's not. It's about the deeper thing of disregarding what I'm saying.
Right.
But that shouldn't take more than 5 minutes to solve, at least from my perspective, because it's so petty. But it's like the fact that you held on to something that minuscule. Well, I guess the situation overall was minuscule. The deeper part was what you needed to talk about.
Right.
But the fact that you held on to it for so long is very concerning.
Yeah. I think the deeper issue is her
I had this boundary of this last piece of cake.
Yeah.
And you broke it.
and then you had no disregard
And
for
you
it.
didn't care. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter about the cake.
Right.
It's just like,
Which is something that definitely needs to be discussed. But then if you get in your relationship where I'm like, it's just a tit for tat thing, I'm just trying to get back at you, then you already lost. Your relationship's not going anywhere. For like, I'm just thinking about how I'm going to get back and how to get my piece of cake back. Like, that's what they're trying to do. I'm trying to take back the thing you stole from me. Yeah. I'm like, that's not what you want with your partner.
Yeah. And then like it would have been like just really healthy to have that conversation with her to know why that meant so much, because she was probably thinking like, oh, I know he wanted this piece of cake, but it's not that big a deal. Like I can get him another cake or whatever. Then if you sat her down, like when you were mad about it and been like, the reason I'm so upset is because, you know, my mom doesn't cook that often or whatever the reason is that you like have this emotional attachment to this cake. Or maybe it's just an emotional attachment to things that your mom makes, because maybe that's how she showed love growing up instead of like telling you I love you. But like you just explain that stuff so then she understands where you're coming from. She knows not to cross that boundary with you instead of making it like a petty tit for tat thing over something that's
it's a piece of cake.
not that deep.
I think I could understand where OP's coming from a little bit of like it's like when there's a situation that's so petty that he's like trying to downplay. He's like, it's not that big of a deal, but it really hurt him. But it's because if you think about the situation, it's like, it's not that big of a situation, but just like not having, I guess, enough to like look in and be like, okay, what is actually making me upset about this situation? Okay, it is the fact that I think it took him a year to realize it was the fact that she just disregarded what I was doing. And so in the moment, he's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I didn't really care. But it's like, no, he was just trying to suppress what he was feeling, because thinking about it objectively, he's getting mad over a piece of cake. But the deeper issue was she disregarded my feelings.
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't have either enough examples to be like, oh, no, you constantly disregard my feelings. And
Probably, because he probably thought it was like, this is a dumb reason, like it's over freaking cake, so I'm going to move on or whatever. But then the feelings never subsided.
Yeah.
And he didn't move on.
He never communicated about it.
But I also just don't think he knew until way later. And then it's like, But now at that point, it's built up for so long that reaction is the only thing he really could do.
Which I get that.
Yeah.
I think I resonate with that because I think a lot of times when I'm in relationships, I don't wanna say I have issues or like annoyed at something. So I just kind of paper it because I'm like, oh, it's a little thing. And then I'm reacting out of that stuff later on. And they're like, why are you being like that? And I'm like, I don't know. It's because I'm like, I just didn't talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a dynamic in the relationship where they're telling me like, oh, you know, this is something like doesn't make me comfortable. I don't like this. And then I have nothing. And then I'm like, dang, I'm like, why are you always complaining all the time? Even though I'm like, I have things too, but I'm like, I don't say it. And then it's like this balance where I'm like, oh, you just hate everything about this relationship. I'm like, oh, there's things I also don't like too. And I just never voiced it. Now I'm angry. And then I do stuff on the back end. That can be true. That doesn't make me right because it took me a long time to realize. I think it makes me less of an asshole, but I'm like, also voice.
Yeah.
Say your things because at the end of the day, you're hurting it as much as she is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying what he.
Yeah.
I was just trying to rationalize that reaction because I feel like some people have been there. Like I've been there. And, you know, it really is that quick conversation when you feel uncomfortable that really helps you to continue to go forward and not make petty year later things like this happen.
Okay, so this next story is, am I the asshole for not moving out of the way after someone deliberately walked in front of me after seeing me?
No.
For not moving out of the way. Wait, was it?
Am I the asshole for not moving out of the way after someone deliberately walked in front of me after seeing me? So today, I, 24 female, 5'2", was on the way home from work and walked down the stairs to the underpass to get to my train track. Since I was a kid, I was taught to stick to the right side. I was so far on the right side that the wall was literally next to me. While moving down the stairs, I see an old man, 60-ish, on my left, his right side, like 20 meters away. We make eye contact, and he starts moving to his left side where I was walking through. Weird, I think, but I recently started to not move out of the way when I'm walking on the most right side. So I kept walking, wall barely touching my shoulder. He moves right in front of me. I keep refusing to move until he's right in front of me and blocks me. Now the underpass is a good 10 meters wide, so he would have still had plenty of space to move around. I still refuse to move out of the way, and also I come to a stop. He stared at me for a few seconds before touching my right shoulder, unsuccessfully trying to push me away, saying, "Attention, madam." I look at him and smile before also putting my hand on his shoulder, mimicking him, and gently pushing him again, saying, "Attention, sir." At this point, his smug grin turned to him looking dumbfounded as he finally moved away, but not without calling me an asshole. I want to add that he walked completely normal, and we were nowhere close to the stairs anymore to which he would have needed the railing. We were also almost the only two people in the underpass. Am I the asshole? And then there's an edit.
He touched her shoulder?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, because nobody should be touching you.
Yeah.
If anything, like I probably would have been scared of that situation, especially with them being the only two, and you're a young woman. Oh no, but I don't think you're the asshole for that.
No, I don't think you are either. Especially if he's all the way almost on his right side and you're on your right side, and there's so much space between you, and then he just seemingly has to get in front of you to make you move. That seems to be his intention, is just to make you move out of the way.
He was walking towards her?
They were walking, towards each other, and then he started slowly moving in front of her.
Oh,
and like expected her to move.
Because I was thinking it was like Brandon was talking about, like when people like walk and then stand right in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're still walking the same direction, so it kind of makes sense. But to like look at someone and then to walk.
Yeah.
That's
strange.
A crazy thing to do.
Yeah, that's very, very weird. Because I'm a big, public spatial awareness is something I really, I like. I pay attention to a lot. And it's just interesting when people just kind of do things in public spaces and don't think about it. But hearing this story, it's like there had to have been some sort of thought process behind him doing that. because if you guys are going opposite directions, someone's staying to one side, just stay on the other side.
Right.
It's not that hard. Like, you have to think to go out of your way to go over there. But then I don't know, because at the same time, there's some people like you go in the grocery store and then there's like people just like in a line, just standing like, oh yeah, what do I want? And it's like, bro, this is a thin, narrow hall. Like, you can't just be standing anywhere.
Well, the worst is when we're in the grocery store and there's somebody on the far right and they are stopped. But then there's somebody who was in the middle trying to pass, but then they stop and they also look. And I'm like, now I can't even pass you because you two are both taking up the way. I get if one person's like sitting there for a few minutes, like looking for what they need, because that makes sense. But the person who's trying to pass but then stops, I'm like, you better move your car out. And then they're like, and they don't move. And I'm like,
I don't know. To me, it sounds like this dude was trying to be a creep. You're in an underpass, right? You're in an underpass. You're the only two people there. He comes up to you, whether he wanted to confront you or not, or say something to you. You are a stranger. Why are you touching me?
Right. Why are you touching my shoulder? That's where I'm stuck.
It's just lots of red flags. Sounds like the dude wanted to be a creep, and I'm just glad that you made it out safe.
Yeah. I also get like weird vibes of, like Brandon was saying, like people taking up space, but also just some people not caring like how much, I guess not caring how much space they take up and wanting you to move out of the way. That's the only thing I can think of is him wanting you to move for him, even though you were already to the far right, because he got in front of you and was like, move. And she's like, you move.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well,
I was going to say, like, I don't know. Like, I am the type of person, like, when I'm walking on a sidewalk, if somebody, like, sees me and is, like, walking in my direction, I full on, like, will run into them. Like, I've done the little shoulder bumps and stuff like that. Because it's like, you see me and you're coming over to where I'm walking. Like, you can say, excuse me, or something like that. But, like, those type of people normally don't try and, like, make it be known. Like, hey, like, I'm walking here.
I'm walking here.
Well, I mean, maybe they do, I guess, in some areas, but
yeah,
I don't know. I've never ran into somebody that's like, excuse me.
Excuse me. Yeah,
well, it was
absolutely
something.
Not.
It's something that I had seen, and I think I brought it up before. And when I told, I think maybe Sam, he was like, "That sounds crazy," but it was like something that I saw about men taking up space and like willing to. Usually like, and this was just some woman's experience, but she was saying, in my experience, whenever I'm walking down a sidewalk, if there's like two men and they're kind of in my way, they expect for me to move. But if there's like another man, they'll move for that other man. And so she was like, what I do now is kind of like what you're saying, but I think you're just saying with people in general, is you're like, if they bump into me, they bump into me. And then they usually will be like, oh, I didn't realize I was that close to you. It's like, no, I'm not going to move for you anymore. So that's where that's kind of what I'm thinking it is like based off of that one woman's experience that a lot of women seem to have related to when I watched that video of like, maybe that's what this is, of like the man being like, you're going to move for me. It could not be, but it also maybe could be, because that's kind of what the comments were leading towards.
Because my experience
too.
always been different. Like, I will always move for a woman, but especially when I was younger, I definitely remember it's like walking towards a man. I'm like,
size him up.
Yeah. I'm looking at you. I'm like, yeah, I'm not the one to move in this situation. And sometimes I see him, I'm like, I am moving in this situation. But some people, I'm like, yeah, we're fully running into it because I'm not moving and I'm playing chicken with you right now.
And then what do they do when you run into each other? They're like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, not bad.
Yeah, I always, whenever, and it sucks too because I'm always in a group of people too, like walking, but I always like choose a side.
Friends. Okay, I have tons of friends.
Yeah, dude, it's like
always
like the
group.
multitudes, like I just
oh my god,
rolling like Jesus, deep. But no, but no, it's like if I'm walking, I always choose a side in any scenario. So I'm like, usually it's the right side. I always choose the right side, and then I'm like, okay, I'm sticking to this right side. If they don't move, it's come to points where I'm face to face and I'm like, and instead of like doing that, oh, my bad, I still stay on the right side. So it's like, I'll stay on the right side. If we get face to face, I'm still choosing the right side. So you have to walk around me because I've chosen it.
What if
You
they
saw me
chose
over
the
here.
side too?
Huh?
What if they chose your side?
Well, it's my side. I chose it first. Usually I'm pretty aware about it. Like I'll see it happening and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just stay on this side. And it's like you have enough time to.
Well, and then my thing is too, it takes nothing to just say, excuse me.
Yeah.
I cannot stand when people just run into you or bump into you or whatever and they don't say, excuse me. Or they're like, because that's what I do. So that's why I don't feel bad about like running into people that are like coming into like where I'm walking and you're not saying excuse me or nothing. I'm running into you. Have some manners.
Have some manners.
Okay, so edit. I forgot to mention that I live in Switzerland. Also, he started out on my left, his right side of the underpass. So he crossed a few meters over before ending up on my path. Also, I obviously do move for people with mobility issues or can't move around freely. The rule of not moving concerns people that are just as capable of moving as I am. Top comment. Not the asshole. He thinks either you're too young, female, or small, so therefore you must move out of his way. Thank you for not. And then people just talking about that's what they think it is.
Yeah.
So that just keeps going.
It's hard to not think that's it if you came in my way.
Especially
Because
going
what's the
out of your way.
reason?
Yeah. Going out of your way to do
And
it.
like you made it a point to make it a thing. Like I'm still stuck on the putting the hand on the shoulder thing. Like that was not necessary at all.
I'm not touching
That's
any
what makes
stranger.
the situation different for me than somebody just like mindlessly like taking up space and running into somebody. It's like, no, they were very intentional. And that's what makes you a creep and not just a rude person.
Some weird paternalistic. He's 60 years old and he's like, ooh, excuse me.
Am I the asshole for blowing up at my sick husband when he asked for help with our toddler?
Blowing up on him?
Probably.
Am I the asshole for blowing up at my sick husband when he asked for help with our toddler? Our toddler was sick through the weekend. I was up with him one night from 12:15 to 2:45 a.m. and off and on the next night. I probably got 10 to 12 hours of broken sleep through the whole weekend. Yesterday, my husband mentioned he was starting to feel a little sick. Last night, I went to bed early hoping to catch up on my rest. All throughout the night, my husband woke me up way more often than my toddler does, even on a bad night. Some of the times were not directly his fault, but other times I felt like he was just being inconsiderate. 1, he snored loudly in my ear. 2, he asked for another blanket because he had the chills, and I told him it was at the foot of the bed, and he asked for help and reminded me that he helps me when I'm sick and that he'd still do the morning routine with our son. 3, he had a nightmare and I had to shake him awake, which is normal. 4, he whispered at Alexa to ask for the time. 5, he asked for another blanket and I gave him mine. 6, he made a phone call in bed and left a full volume voicemail to his work to let them know that he'd take a sick day. 7, at 5:30 in the morning, he woke me up to ask if I could do the wake up routine with our son. I do bedtime, he does wake up. At this point, I blew up. I expressed how mad I was that he woke me up all night long and now I have to wake up early to do what he said he'd still do. And I don't get to stay home and catch up on my sleep. He said I was in the wrong because marriage is in sickness and in health. I immediately got up to get ready. He said I didn't have to start getting ready so early. And I said, yes, I did because I start work at 7:30. I barely make it to work on time when I wake up at 6. And now I have to unexpectedly skip my shower, get my toddler ready, get his food ready for the day, feed him breakfast, drop him off at daycare, and then take myself to work. I said he was a grown man with a cold, and he robbed me of the rest that I needed, and that I'll be sleeping on the couch tonight. At that point, I asked for some space, and we haven't talked since. I was late for work, which is a big deal at my job. I might be the asshole for blowing up at my husband when he asked for support during an unexpected illness. So am I the asshole for being mad at my sick husband? And then there's an update.
Nah, I understand where you're coming from, especially if you still got to go to work in the morning and it's unexpected. He's telling you that morning. I understand your frustration.
Yeah. Especially when it sounds like it's just a cold.
Exactly.
I think.
Oh no.
I think sometimes.
Oh no. Don't say it.
Say it.
I kind of forgot my thoughts, so you're lucky.
Sometimes when men are sick
I knew you
And they take things.
it's like
They're a little dramatic because they want to be taken
Yes.
care of. Oh, I remember my thought.
oh my gosh, it's so funny to me. Like, do y'all acknowledge that men do that? Or no?
Well, what is it? A couple years ago, I had the flu, and I rarely get sick. So when I do get sick, it's like I don't know how to react to it sometimes. So it really depends on how sick I get. Like I had the flu, but everything in my body was refusing to accept the fact that I had the flu. So I tried getting up. I almost fell down one time because I was so tired. But like, I don't know. I think it's just every guy's different.
No, okay. Here's where I'm like, I blame women for it.
Whoa.
Yeah. Let me say
We're
it.
blaming women.
I'm
Let's
blaming
hear
women.
this.
I gotta blame women because I do think there's some truth to it, but I think it's because of how women treat you when you're sick. When I was like, I think I was sick. It wasn't that bad, but I was sick, and my girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh my God, can I take care of you?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and I like played into it because it like feels nice to be taken care of. So sometimes we like play it up a little bit. Just because it feels so nice to get
So
that
you're proving
comfort.
my point.
Yeah, but
There's
I'm like,
nothing wrong with
if y'all
that.
just like throw medicine at me and going, I'm like, okay, I'll talk through it. But I'm like, are you sick? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, nose is runny.
I need blink.
I need blink. I'm gonna do it because I don't do it a lot. I'm like, Brandon, I don't get sick that often, so I'm like, I'm gonna be a little baby. So thank you, women, for doing that.
Oh my God.
The fact that he just blamed women for that is crazy.
Women.
Insane. Like, all you have to say is, we like the nurturing
I love it.
nature of you guys.
And I
And when
wish
you guys
women
really
weren't
take
as
care of
nurturing.
it, so we play it up. He's like, I blame you
do
guys. Like,
blame
we did something to you.
Yeah, you took care of me and you were sweet and nice.
That's
So you took
crazy.
advantage of that and acted more sick than you actually were?
Yeah, I did.
See, and I don't think there's like a problem necessarily with that because I get it, but it's when you're not doing the things that you said you're going to do,
No, he
like get
took
our
it too
son
far.
ready,
Yeah.
knowing that that's adding like a whole thing to my morning, and I still have to go to work.
The whole sleep thing. It wasn't just that you weren't doing what you were going to do. It's also if I'm sick, I'm knocked. I'm taking that quill. I'm out of here. I'm not waking up. And then I'll find out in the morning if I need to call in. I'm not doing it in the middle of the night.
He's doing errands. He's like-
Literally.
I'm not
every
doing
time she
any of
looks,
that.
he's like on the computer. He's like calling people. He's like, "Hey, what's up?"
So of course he couldn't do the morning routine because he was up all night when you should have been getting rest.
Yeah. And she said there was a few things where, that's normal, having a bad dream and snoring. But the whole asking for
bad dream
blankets
took me
twice.
Mhm.
And she's like, it's literally at the foot of your bed. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, I help you when you're sick. You help me reach
He's
down to
like,
my feet.
I can't reach it.
So
Well,
I don't think that's
couldn't just use your
but
feet to pick it
obviously
up?
yeah,
Okay.
something.
And I don't think
Gotta
you're
get
the
the monkey
asshole.
paws out. That's what my feet looking like right now. So monkey paws.
Monkey paws is insane.
I don't think you're the asshole for being angry too, because I think sometimes we forget that we like watch little kids who cry and like throw tantrums because they're tired or hungry. We are still those same things when we're tired or we're hungry. We react more. This chick's had 12 hours of sleep over the weekend. You're tired. And so you blowing up, it's just a result of you literally have not slept. It's normal to react like that. And I think once you finally get some rest and you can talk, you'll be like, hey, bro, this was why I blew up. You need to do more when you're sick. I can't do everything. You need to follow through with what you said because you did say that. That helps me. That helps the family overall. But I don't think you're the asshole for getting angry in the moment as long as you talk after him like, this is why I got mad.
I agree.
And he knows.
Yeah, because I was wrong.
Yeah. But the blanket was so far away, though.
And then he also had to ask Alexa in the middle of the night, hey, Alexa, what time is it? So the time is...
No, if you whisper to Alaska, she'll whisper back.
They must not have a fan in their living, like when they sleep, because you must be hearing everything. Just little.
If you go, Alexa, what time is it? She goes, it's 2:35.
The time 2:35.
Even though her whisper is really loud, she's like, it's 2:35.
I did not know she whispered.
Yeah, if you whisper to her.
It's just, it's not actually whispering. It's just her
It's
talking
her
in the same
hushed,
tone.
but it's the same volume.
So it is loud.
The
Kind of loud.
It's just harder to hear.
is-
What did,
Yeah.
what did you say?
She's like, I just said it. If you just listen to what I say.
The time is 5:40 a.m.
Okay, so top comment, not the asshole. Being sick, working, and caring for a sick child is terrible, but your husband is an adult and needs to be somewhat self-sufficient and considerate. He can't help that he had a nightmare or snored, but waking you up for a blanket twice, asking for the time, and taking/making calls in the early hours from bed is incredibly self-centered. Okay, so there is an update. She talks about a lot of stuff, but to be honest, I'm just going to cut to the bottom.
Cut
All
to
right.
it.
Okay.
Cut the fat. Get the.
Yeah, cut the fat.
So, update, husband saw the comments and guaranteed me uninterrupted sleep going forward. I again offered to sleep on the couch, but he insisted he take it and the baby monitor. As a compromise, we'll be sleeping separately on weeknights and together on weekends unless I need to catch up on sleep or if one of us is sick. After seeing all perspectives, including husbands, I'll agree with an everyone sucks here verdict, with me being 20% the asshole. I had the right to be mad, but I should not have blown up. He should be able to ask for help, but within reason. I apologize for being snappy. He apologized for the wake-ups. No divorce lawyers necessary. I don't agree with everyone sucks here verdict. I can understand why she got upset, and I don't really think she's the asshole.
Yeah, I don't think
I
so
think
either.
sucks is strong,
It's totally
yeah.
understandable.
Yeah. But it's maybe it's good the situation happened too, because you're kind of changing completely how you guys live, and if that's a helpful way, it was good this happened.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so this last story is an update from 7 years ago. My then 29 female marriage to then 29 male is getting annulled in a few days. Not sure what to do / think. Hey everyone, this is a 7-year overdue update, but I wanted to share how things turned out so many years later. About 7 years ago, I posted on my marriage getting annulled. This post is likely gone now, so here's a quick recap of the main issues. 1. Children. I made it clear before marriage that I never wanted kids ever. My ex agreed, but the moment we were married, he pressured me relentlessly every single day. He would put a stuffed toy under my shirt and say, "Isn't it nice to be pregnant?" Or say it would be cute to have a little child clinging to my legs. He also suggested getting a dog, which he later admitted was to encourage my maternal instincts, and then threatened to return her when I didn't change my mind. 2. Other women. At a work event, a woman leaned on him, insisted on having dinner at her table, and later invited him to join her in her room's jacuzzi right in my face. He claimed she was crazy and that he didn't know her, and then changed his tune to that he barely knew her, but I checked his messages and found out they had been having breakfast and coffee together for a long time. There were more incidents like this, including him gaming just to meet a girl he had a crush on, or asking out 2 girls he used to have a crush on out of spite. I asked him if I could meet a guy friend, and he said no, and then threw a fit that I even asked. I should have known better than to ask, apparently, and refusing to cancel until I had a meltdown. 3. No responsibility. He had cheated on all of his exes and called them crazy. When I finally lost it and screamed at him, he told me I scared him and refused to acknowledge his part of our problems. He wouldn't stop seeing the coworker who started our issues and insisting it was important for networking. They are not even in the same department. In marriage counseling, I told him I'd consider kids if he created a concrete 18-year plan for their care. He refused, saying, "Just have the child and then we'll deal with it." The counselor sided with me, but he stormed out and never went back. My emotional struggles. Number 4. I behaved badly too, and I had issues regulating my emotions, often screaming, crying, and once throwing books in frustration. I look back and cringe in shame and embarrassment. There were more problems, so many of them, but these were the biggest issues. I was lost, heartbroken, and overwhelmed. Reading the comments were hard, and I think I deleted the post eventually to avoid facing them. To the commenters. To the Redditors who were kind and rational in their comments, thank you. Most of you told me to leave and that the marriage was toxic. That was hard to hear at the time, but you were so right. To the few who were rude, yes, wanting children is okay, but forcing someone who doesn't, tricking them into marriage isn't. And to the guy who implied my ex paid for everything, no, he didn't. My parents helped me with my master's fees. We went halvesies on the house, everything. Also, the person who suggested I had bipolar disorder, diagnosing a stranger online is irresponsible. I'm now a psychologist, and no, I don't have bipolar disorder. It's a tough, lifelong condition, and I really feel for those who have it. Emotional deregulation happens for many reasons. Going through with the annulment. The annulment only confirmed my decision. My ex gaslit me constantly, to the point where I had to keep an evidence list to remind myself of the truth. He falsely accused me of stealing money from our accounts when all I did was take back my wedding gift money for my family, which he also did. He lied to a lawyer about my financial contributions, saying I paid only $60 for the house, but I had bank records proving otherwise. I paid $70,000. His self-righteous lies were often so convincing that even I doubted myself at times. Referring to my evidence record sheet also helped. And she's going to talk about where she's at, but this is a little bit longer. I don't know if you guys want to comment on that right now. So this isn't an update that we followed, but I just thought it was interesting to hear an update from 7 years later. So I don't know if you guys have anything to add because, yeah, it is a lot.
Yeah, y'all definitely didn't need to be together. That's for sure.
Okay.
And I get they're telling us like the really bad things. I'm like, it doesn't seem like there was much attractive with this guy. What?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was thinking.
Good
Like
in
how,
him.
especially, I wonder when she found out about the cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least to me, that
One thing that stuck out to me when she was talking about the cheating, she was like, she referred to the woman as the one who started our issues. And I'm like, it's not a good mindset to have about that because she wasn't in a relationship with you.
Right.
He was.
Right.
one common denominator in all of his past relationships.
Him.
Him.
Well, because I think I was watching on Instagram some podcast. There's just like a big red flag to me is when people talk bad about their exes or they constantly bring up their exes. You're like, it's just like a tacky thing where even if they were Satan, you still being in it and constantly talking about it shows something about you where you're like, are you truly out of this? Or even in some relationships, do you realize what you also did in it? It's always they were the devil, they were a narcissist, they were blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it doesn't need to be spoken about, or you also need to recognize your responsibility in the relationship too. And I've seen that where I'm like, yeah, if you're talking about your ex all the time, I don't know if it's not a good look to me.
Especially only maybe just complaining about things that they haven't done and not being reflective.
Yeah.
Is that what the part that was maybe missing?
Yeah.
Is being reflective on how you contributed to the
Yeah.
relationship, even if it was mostly them and you're like, but I did this, or I could have, spoken up about,
Because like there's a common denominator. And I promise you, in every single relationship, you weren't the hero.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where I'm at now. I'm now in a healthy, loving marriage with a husband who makes me feel safe and cherished in the ways I have never imagined. We've been together for 6+ years. Yes, we met very shortly after my annulment, so I'm glad things worked out. And every day just keeps getting better. He's kind, intelligent, funny, and thoughtful, and yes, handsome to boot.
No.
We have deep conversations about philosophy, sci-fi, and the meaning of life, art, everything. He's everything my ex wasn't, and I see now how much happiness I would have missed out if I had fought for that old marriage and stayed. Even if my ex had worked on things, he would never have been able to fulfill me the way my husband does. Oh.
Period. I know that's
chill,
right.
Chill. Fee.
I know that's
Okay.
right.
Yeah, oh.
Therapy, both self-guided and with other professionals, helped me grow tremendously. I've calmed down and learned to manage my emotions. The worst thing I do now when angry is raise my voice slightly or whine. No more screaming, no losing control, no helpless sobbing, absolutely no name calling. Turns out a lot of my emotional struggles came from feeling unheard and trapped in a toxic marriage with someone who was convinced he was God's gift to women. Being in a great marriage with a wonderful person really does wonders for emotional regulation and wellness. I guess I just really wanted to say, if you're in a bad relationship, please, please don't stay out of fear. Being alone can be terrifying, but nothing is worse than being trapped in misery for life. Looking back, I can't believe I didn't see how necessary it was to leave. People say Redditors love jumping to break up, but now that I'm in a wonderful, stable marriage, I get it. When you're with the right person, everything feels different. You look at someone stuck in a bad situation and all you think is, why do some people accept such treatment? Things could be so much better if they left. I then remind myself that I was once like that too, accepting the worst situations because leaving was too hard. If you're in a bad relationship, please leave. It's not worth it. Knowing that there is something better out there, don't let fear keep you from finding it. I'm proof of it, and honestly, if I had ended up single forever, I can tell you that I would prefer that. In the few months I was single, I realized how bad things were when I went to bed just being glad that there wasn't a new argument or betrayal to discover. Do what is right for you, not what is easy. Love you, Redditors. Thanks for saving people from bad relationships all over the world.
That's some solid advice right there.
I think she should break up with a new guy.
Why, Sam?
He's too good to be true. And break up, divorce.
I did scratch my head a little bit after a few months. A few months of being single after all of that.
Yeah.
But hey,
it worked.
Actually,
you like it, I love
Jazz. Get rid of this guy.
You like it, I love it, but
What's
I
his
was
post?
like,
Send me that post
few
sometime,
months.
Manny.
But also, how old are they? Because I feel like older people, you know, their timelines with getting into relationships can be shorter because
They're
you
about to die soon.
communicate more effectively sometimes. Idealistically,
Yeah.
you'll,
I'm like, I don't think age has
idealistically,
anything.
you'll
Yeah.
communicate more effectively. You're more emotionally intelligent. You know exactly what you want and need from a relationship.
Yeah.
So don't mock me.
No, I wasn't. I was going with your point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going. What you're saying was good. Ignore Sam. He was mocking you.
I wasn't.
But
It was
anyways,
good.
so you can kind of like, you know, get out of a relationship and move on a little bit faster maybe. Or like get into a relationship quicker than when you're younger and it's like so many other things. But I could be wrong.
I think you're right, but I still am concerned with a couple months because of what she's gone through and the amount of work it took to get out of it. I'm like, I feel like you got to take a lot of work before you truly know what you want because you thought you wanted this, and then a
But
couple
she
months
seems
later,
to have like a better mindset
I'm
now.
glad it worked out because 6 years it seems good.
The few months does concern me too, just because of, you know, all the work she did do to get out of it. But it's like at a certain point, there had to have been a honeymoon phase to get her into the first marriage, especially knowing all the things we know now. But I don't know. I'm glad it worked out for her too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to add this story because it was actually like technically a Reddit story that has a positive outcome. And it's from 7 years later.
Yeah. And some good solid advice.
You guys were talking about age before we started talking about something else. She was 29 when she originally posted, so 7 years later, so she's 36 now.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So, you know, she's been growing. And I think, you know, like she's been saying
Are we
she's
gonna
been
say
doing
she's
self-help
grinding?
while it's been happening, which I think is maybe why one of the reasons why getting into a relationship so soon worked. And it just happened to be the guy that works really well with
The love of her life.
Yeah, the love of her life, who satisfies everything that her ex couldn't.
Fulfills it.
Period.
She's fulfilled.
AKA he putting it
Yeah.
down.
Emphasis on filled. You know what I'm saying?
She said he take care of me.
Good for him.
Phil, this is crazy. Sam, why are you laughing?
I don't know.
All right.
So thanks,
Thank
Jazz,
you,
for coming.
Jazz.
Love y'all.
I hope you wear pink soon, girl.
I wear it
And-
just for you.
And disregard that, and we'll see you back on the show sometime soon, Jazz.
Absolutely.
All right.
Anytime.
So we gotta go. We gotta go film the Patreon episode.
Yeah, behind the wall.
Behind the wall.
Oh, heat the cold.
The accent changes every time. I
Yeah.
apologize for that.
Yeah. Crikey.
But yeah, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for watching us.
Thank
Make sure you're
you.
liking and subscribing. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Comfortable podcast.
just hit the like and subscribe.
like.
Just for that.
Subscribe.